90% of brands are going to fail on Amazon in the next 12 months, but the 10% that will succeed are doing something most people aren't. Now, in the last 12 months, I've generated over $600 million in revenue for brands that we manage, over 200 brands that we manage at Trivium. And I will show you the exact step-by-step process on how you can succeed and not be part of that 90% that's going to fail on Amazon. Now, this is going to be a full masterclass on everything you need to know to build a brand on Amazon, grow it, scale it the right way in 2025, 2026, and beyond. Now, things that used to work back in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, they no longer work. A big part of that is a lot of people are selling products on Amazon and not building proper brands. And on top of that, not a lot of them have a proper strategy. So in this video, I will give you a full strategy end to end. Whatever stage of the business you are on Amazon, whether you don't even have a product, you have a product launched, successful, growing, it doesn't matter. You need to watch this video. So let's cover the two sides of selling on Amazon. Side number one is going to be how to grow and scale on Amazon. Side number two is going to be the logistics. All right, growing on Amazon. Let's break it down. Amazon is a large funnel, right? At the top of the funnel, you have people seeing you. So these are just eyeballs, okay? Middle of funnel, people clicking on you. So this is click-through rate, right? People clicking, the people that are seeing you are clicking and making it into your product detail page. Bottom of the funnel, this is conversion rate. People buying your product. And then all the way at the bottom, this is lifetime value. So if you have a recurring product, people buying it again and again and again. Let's talk about the different stages. Amazon is actually more like a million different funnels, right? All into one big funnel. Each funnel is a keyword funnel. All right, let's take one keyword, right? So this keyword, a certain number of people are going to see you, and then a certain number of people are going to click on you, and a certain number of people are going to convert from that one keyword. So the goal here is to identify every single keyword possible that we could show up for and start showing up for those keywords and do it in a data-driven way. So what I mean by that is, let's identify all the search terms possible and all the product pages possible that you could show up for on Amazon. We could do that using Data Dive. You could do that using Helium 10, Jungle Scout, any of the keyword research tools. What we could do is take the top 10 or 15 competitors, identify all of the search terms possible, put that in a sheet. Now, let's look at where we're ranking on those keywords, what our impression share is for those keywords, and start to benchmark our performance. So let's say you take this 1,000 keywords, and for the first 100, you're position, 80 to 100. The second 100, you're position 60 to 80. Third 100, you position 40 to 60, and so on. We start to document just so we can have some sort of benchmark and then have a data-driven approach. How do we show up in front of more people? Because if you just show up in front of more people, a certain number of those people are going to click, a certain number of those people are going to then convert on your listing. Think about it. Let's say you're showing up for 1 million people. If you show up for 10 million people, just have 10 million impressions, maybe you're not going to 10x your sales, but you will at least increase your sales. So the goal here is to show up in front of more people and then get more of them to click on us, which I'll cover in a second, and then get more of those people to convert. And then again, more of those people to get a lifetime value, and then to increase the lifetime value on those people. So to get more of them to purchase again and again and again, or maybe potentially use them to cross-sell other products. But at the end of the day, when you get a customer, you want to get the most amount of money from them. Okay, cool. We've done the keyword research, identified all of the search terms possible that we could show up for. We've benchmarked it. Now the next step is PPC campaigns. Now, how should we be thinking about PPC here? So obviously there's PPC campaign structure. So just best practices. One campaign, one ad group, no more than 5 keywords. The reason I do this is because when I have multiple ad groups in the campaigns, the budget starts splitting unevenly. I don't want Amazon to send $90 to this campaign and only 10 to this campaign if this one's going to perform better. But maybe this one has lower search volume and lower sales, but a better return on ad spend. This one has higher search volume, worse return on ad spend, and then Amazon's just like, okay, perfect, you're going to make more sales here, but it's going to be less profitable sales. So at the end of the day, I want more control. One campaign, one ad group, no more than 5 keywords. I don't do more than 5 keywords because you could do this right now. Go into your ad groups. Let's say you have 20, 30, 40. Sort by sales in the last 30 days. You'll notice the first 5 get a lot of sales. Second 5 maybe get 1 or 2 sales. After that, they probably don't get any sales. So what's the point of having keywords in a campaign if they're not making any sales? Pause them. Try them in another campaign, in their own campaign, so you can give them more budget. It might work, it might not work. I can't promise anything, but at least if it's not working in one campaign, why is it there? Try something different. So that's just campaign best practices. Now, the bid here is what's going to increase and decrease the position. Now, increasing and decreasing the bid, what that will do is show you up either higher or lower in the search results. So think about this. If we wanted the maximum amount of impressions, we would just show up in position 1 on every single search term. But the problem here is if you show up in position 1, you may not convert. The cost per click might be too high. You might get a lot of clicks, but not sales. So we are now limited by our click-through rate and conversion rate on those search terms. If the conversion rate is good, we spend more money on it because it's converting. So I spend $1, I make $5. I'll take that deal every single day. If it's not converting, that's where I have to quote unquote optimize the bids, which basically means increasing and decreasing the bids until I hit that sweet spot where I'm converting profitably. And I may never hit that sweet spot. Maybe my conversion rate is only 5%. So no matter what position I'm in, I'm not going to convert profitably. But if I take my conversion rate, which I'll talk about in a second, and take that to 20% by maybe adding 5,000 reviews, just an exaggeration, now I'm converting really well. And instead of not being able to convert even on position 30 or 40, now position 2 or 3, I'm converting profitably. You know what I mean? All right, quick recap. Identify all of the search terms possible that we could show up for. Then benchmark your performance. Where are you showing up in the search results? What's your conversion rate on those keywords? And what is your impression share? You can find the impression share in the search query performance report. So the impression share basically says, hey, the entire market, all of you and your competitors, for a certain search term like electrolyte powder, you and all of the competitors got 5 million views. Now you only got 10,000 out of those 5 million views, which means you have like an X% of impression share. If I can keep increasing that impression share, it means I am showing up for more and more percentage of the total impressions, which means more people see me, more people click on me, more people convert. And remember, when we launch these campaigns with 5 keywords at a time, we're increasing and decreasing the bids, trying to find that sweet spot. At what bid am I converting the most profitably? And again, you can increase the bid more and more as your conversion rate improves by doing these things that I'll cover in a second. All right, next up, you have the funnel, people seeing you, and then people clicking on you. So a certain percentage of the people that see you, the eyeballs, will turn into clicks. That is based on your click-through rate. Now, there are 7 main factors that affect the click-through rate. It is going to be your main image, your price, your reviews and your star rating, discounts and coupons or lightning deals, promotions, whatever, your badge, FBA versus FBM, or badges like the bestseller badge or Amazon's Choice badge. Now, Amazon's Choice badge, not 100% sure if it helps that much, but the bestseller badge definitely really helps increase click-through rate and conversion rate. Now, the 7 factors, let's start one by one. The main image. You want your main image to be really enticing. You want it to have eye candy. You want to utilize your packaging to be almost like an infographic. Think of a bodybuilding show. Think of a bodybuilding competition. It's 5, 6 guys standing next to each other. And you're looking and you're saying, which one is the best one? On Amazon is the exact same thing. They're judging you based on these 7 factors as they look in the search results and saying, which one should I click on? Which one is the best one for me? So a lot of people, they just have a product. Let's say it's a face moisturizer, right? And it just says like the name of the brand and we could barely read anything on the product. What would make me want to click on this product? Either it has so many reviews or it's cheap or something, right? But what if you added a box next to that product box, even if you don't have a box, and made that an infographic, all natural, no preservatives, this, that, before and after, whatever, stuff like that get people enticed to click on that product. You then create that eye candy and infographic to sell people on why they should click on that product, not the other ones. Now, next is price. Super self-explanatory. Sometimes a higher price makes you look more premium. People want that. Sometimes a lower price is what people want. I can't tell you what's right or wrong. What I can tell you is you need to be split testing your price point to see how it affects click-through rate, conversion rate, and overall profit. The main metric here is bottom line profit. It is not ACOS, TACOS, ROAS, click-through rate, convert. All of these things are metrics that we don't even know 100% if they're accurate. You know what you could take to the bank? Your sales on Amazon. So you have your sales, you have your ad spend, and then you have your net profit after discounts and fees and Amazon fees and all this kind of stuff. Your bottom line net profit, that's what I can test. So if I increase my price for 2 weeks and my bottom line net profit increases, amazing, I did the right thing. If I increase my price and my ACOS changes, I don't care, right? Who cares about that? Who cares about ACOS and TACOS and all this stuff? All I care about is what happened to my profit. Maybe I decrease my price, my profit goes up. Maybe I decrease it again, it goes up again. Maybe I decrease it again, and now it starts going down because that decrease in price didn't help the sales velocity that much. So at the end of the day, you have to build that graph, which is like a bell curve. As you increase the price, you're gonna make more profit. You hit a point, increasing the price even more, you start to make less profit because your conversion rate starts to drop because you're too expensive compared to other people. Now, again, this is also super dynamic. So I could have a $27.99 price and the people around me all have different prices. And for those prices right now in the search results, I'm fine. But what if everyone changes their price? All of a sudden, maybe I'm not desirable anymore. And then I need to change my price again. So nothing on Amazon is static. Nothing in the world is static. Why? Because it's all human beings behaving. It's people showing up to a store, the Amazon store, looking for products, clicking, doing different things. So if you think everything is going to stay the same, oh, I optimized my listing once, oh, I created an amazing product once, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you don't have to change anything, you're mistaken because you always have to be testing and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So maybe your price right now is good. Try higher, try lower. See what happens at the end of the day to your bottom line profit. If you look here, I have Trivium Analytics. And on Trivium Analytics, you can see week over week how everything changes. Most importantly, how our bottom line profit changes. This is what I'm tracking. This is what I'm showing to clients. And this is what I look for in my own brands. I'm like, hey, What happened week over week? Did our revenue go up? Did our profit go up? I don't care if ACOS went from 20% to 60%. If my profit went from 2,000 a week to 4,000 a week, I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? Cool. Let's move to reviews. Super self-explanatory. The more reviews you have, the higher the star rating, the better everything is going to be. Go open up Amazon, your personal Amazon. Look at your latest orders. Every single one, I guarantee you, has hundreds, if not thousands of reviews. So why would you think anyone else would buy your product if it doesn't have thousands of reviews? You need to have a strategy. Now, what that strategy is, what I found works the most effectively is capturing customer data, putting them somewhere in an app, in a community, whatever, and then engaging with them and eventually pushing them to leave a review on Amazon. Now, terms of service says that you cannot incentivize anyone to leave a positive review, which means you can't give them anything for free in exchange for a review, or you can't ask them for a positive one. You can say, hey, can you please leave a positive one? We're a small family-owned business. That is incentivization. That is bias. In the terms of service, Amazon does not allow that. Now, how much you want to push the limit is completely up to you, but at the end of the day, reviews matter, so you have to get more and more of them. Now, let's talk about FBA versus FBM. FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. You send thousands of units to Amazon's warehouse. You use them as like a shipping company, like UPS. They basically take your product and ship it to the customer. Now, if all of your competitors are FBA using Amazon, they get the Prime badge. There's no chance that you can be FBM, which means fulfilled by merchant, which means you ship it from your own warehouse and compete with people who are FBA. So if everyone's FBA, you have to be FBA. A lot of times people ask me, hey, can I test my product with FBM first? I'm like, it's like testing a car with 4 wheels broken, right? It's not gonna, no matter like, what are we testing here? You know what I mean? Are you testing the engine? Like, I don't know what you can test because your wheels are off. It's the exact same thing with FBA versus FBM. Is it that the product was bad, or is it that it was FBM that it did not succeed on Amazon? You know what I mean? I can't tell you, but I can tell you for sure, if your competitors are FBA and you're FBM, there's no chance you're gonna succeed. Cool. Discounts and coupons. Another thing that can improve click-through rate and also bottom line profit. Now, what's the perfect discount, coupon, lightning deal promotion? I have no idea. It's all about testing. One example that I did with subscribe and save discounts is I basically said 1 week at 10%, 1 week at 15, 1 week at 20, 1 week at 25. And I looked at my profit and the number of subscriptions that I was getting after each week. And then I went back to no discount and I said, okay, at which point did I make the most amount of profit? And at which point did I get the most number of subscriptions? And then I found out that that was 15%. So I stuck to 15%. And that doesn't mean that I'm not testing other promotions. It's always a testing game. It's always figuring out what discount, what coupon, what lightning deal, whatever is going to result in better bottom line profit, better click-through rates. All right. And let's move down the funnel into conversion rate, right? So conversion rate is basically taking the people who are in your listing and getting them to actually buy your product. So in order to do that, people have to go into your listing and think that your product is better than everyone else at that price point. They need to feel like they trust your product from the reviews, and they need to be sold visually, right? Not with a lot of text and all this writing. They need to be sold visually that your product is the best product for them, that it is the most superior product on the market, that it is better than everyone else. So in those images, put yourself in the customer's shoes, swipe, 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 and right away from the images, you need to be sold why this product is better than everyone else, why this is going to solve my problem better than everyone else, why it doesn't have any of the bad stuff everyone has, and it has all of the good stuff and more that everyone else has, all your competitors have. So when you're building your listing, make sure that you have all these visual concepts and all these selling points in the visuals. Videos are the exact same thing. That's where you can use social proof, unboxing, or talking about the benefits of the product in a quick, engaging visual manner with video versus images. Now, the title and the bullet points mainly are used for SEO. Not a lot of people read them. So try to keep your bullet points for SEO and specifications. So for example, I was just buying something for plumbing, at home for one of my faucets, and I had to make sure that the adapter fit the right faucet, blah, blah, blah. So that's a really good place to put specs in the image and also in the bullet points, because a lot of people are looking for those specifications. Now, as you go down, you can actually do virtual bundles. So when you do virtual bundles, what that does is it pushes the competitors' ads down, and it also showcases that you have other products. Now, moving down into the competitors' ads, make sure you're targeting your products with other of your own products so you can take up that real estate. Bulletproof Coffee is a great example of that. You type in Bulletproof Coffee, click on it, and you'll see all of the ads, most of them, not all of them, are bulletproof, 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 and they push out all the competitors. So you're kind of just advertising all of your own stuff on your own page versus someone else with 20,000 reviews comes in, shows up there, and you're like, I like Nina's product, but this one has 20,000 reviews. This one has 50,000 reviews. Cool. We keep moving down. Then you have the brand story. So brand story, this is the best place for your customer to connect with your brand, with your mission, your vision, your values, your philanthropy, your founder story. So make sure to put all of that stuff in the brand story. You can also cross-sell other products. But what I recommend is just make sure that you connect to the customers. All right, then we move on to A+ content. I always like to use premium A+ content. And again, I am visually selling the product very easily. Images, like short text, not a lot of writing. Why is this product better than everyone else? Why is this product better than everyone else? Here's one thing you could do. Go and take your top 10 competitors, use Jungle Scout Review Analyzer, do a quick review analysis, and it will tell you what the good, the bad, and a full summary of all of these competitors' reviews are, what people are saying. Take 10 or 15 of those, feed it into AI, and say, hey, this is my product. This is the summary of all of my competitors' reviews with AI. Tell me what are all of the things I should showcase in my images that my competitors have and people like, and what are all the things I should showcase in my image that my competitors have and people don't like. And then make sure to visually show that. So when someone says, you know what, I hated this electric diffuser because it leaked, the battery life, it rusted, whatever, all these different things, you're like, rust-free, 70-hour battery life, blah, 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 all these different things, you know, that like all of your competitors had issues with, or people love the different fragrances that they offer. So like, we have all these different fragrances, you can make mixes, whatever, you know, all these different things. So showcase all of the stuff that you have, that they have, that people like, and you have none of the bad stuff that they have. Obviously, you don't want to lie, but if you find these things and they're not in your product, maybe this is a chance to have a conversation with your manufacturer and to start doing some research and development and create version 2, version 3, version 4 of your products. Every 6 months, no more than a year, I suggest 6 months, you have a next version of your product that is superior to your existing one and superior to every single one on the market. That is called product market fit. And now, that is going to be the ultimate game changer when it comes to click-through rate, conversion rate, because when you have a superior product market fit, which means when you solve a problem better than everyone else, you will immediately get people to click on you. They won't even look at the price of the reviews because you have a better product. So think about this. Before people had insulated thermoses, right? Before they existed, people would hold cups with hot tea and it would be too hot. You know what I mean? So imagine if you were the one who created the insulated thermos. So now you can hold hot tea and it feels room temperature. Now, no matter your price or reviews or whatever, you have now created a superior product market fit. And all of a sudden, people want your product. They don't even care about the other products. They just want your product because it does what no one else does. Now, I basically just covered part 1, right, of Amazon, which is all the things that you could do to grow and scale and market your product on Amazon. Let's talk about part 2, the logistics, all the way from the factors. So we talked about product market fit. So product market fit is where you're doing research and development, trying to create a superior product, looking at reviews, talking to your customers, the ideal customers, and seeing what are all the things that I could be doing to improve my product. Now, you got to take that to manufacturing. You need a really strong manufacturing partner. So don't stop at manufacturer number 1. You should always have a sourcing agent, always kind of dating and getting samples for different products from different factories because you could find a better manufacturer. Also, you should always be working on better terms. So if you guys don't understand the cash flow cycle, the cash flow cycle is basically from the time that I pay for my products, that I pay the invoice, until it sells and I get my money back, what is the number of days? Now, let's think about this. Let's say I pay $1,000 today to get 1,000 units, just as an example. And it takes a month to manufacture the product, a month to ship it, a month to check into Amazon, and a month to sell. That's 4 months. So my cash flow cycle is 4 months, or probably a little bit more because it takes Amazon a little bit of time to pay you your money back. So let's say it's 4 months, right? But if I could tell my manufacturer, hey, when the product is done, I will then pay you net 30, which means the product gets done, right? And then you don't pay. And then it gets shipped, and then you wait 30 days, and then you pay for it. Now my cash flow cycle is 2 months. What if I said, hey, when the product arrives to Amazon, I will then pay you net 30. And then, you know, it's 30 days. It's 30 days to make it, 30 days to ship. And then net, you have to pay the invoice, but net 30, which means 30 days later, now your cash flow cycle is only 1 month, which makes it even better. If you get to a negative cash flow cycle, which means your customers are paying you before you have to pay your manufacturer and supplier, that's when you get into a negative cash flow cycle, and you can infinitely keep scaling because as you grow more and more and make more sales, people are paying you before you have to pay your invoices, and you can keep making more and more products and selling them more and more and more. Now, on top of that, quality control. So make sure every single product leaving your manufacturing facility is inspected. Make sure that it's all good, because when bad products get to Amazon and they're shipped to customers, people leave negative reviews and it starts to ruin your brand and your reputation. So make sure that you're always doing quality control. It is not that expensive. I like to always make sure that all my products are inspected. Now, this just happened with WonderFat, where we made 7,200 units and all of them were sweating oil, right? Because it's a beef tallow based product. And then the manufacturer was like, oh, this is normal. I said, this is absolutely not normal. There is oil being sold and it's not sweating, oil, right? So this is liquid oil. This is a cream. Like the seal should be tight enough that nothing sweats. And if we hadn't done that inspection, imagine 7,200 units being shipped to Amazon and people get the product and they open it up and their hands are all oily and fatty and they're like, this is terrible, right? Now, talking about people receiving their products from Amazon, one program that I love is the Amazon Ships and Product Packaging. Now, what that's going to do is allow you to take your product and put it in its own custom branded box, right? That's going to have your branding. You can have a QR code that you can send traffic anywhere that you want. And instead of customers receiving stuff in a bubble mailer or an Amazon box, they're going to receive it in your own branded box. Now, that is going to start to build brand awareness. It's also going to make your product look more professional. It's going to make you look like a bigger company. And here's the deal. Amazon will drop your FBA fees. Obviously, you're going to have to pay a little bit more to get your own custom box and get the warehouse to put in its own custom box. But at the end of the day, it's probably going to net equal. You're going to not spend any more money than you already are. It's not going to increase your cost of goods sold, but it's going to build the brand equity. And what it's going to do is it's going to have that QR code where you can capture customer information and send them anywhere that you want. So one thing that I love using is a lifetime warranty. Another one is really engaging apps. So here's an example. Let's say a backpack for picnics. For a product like that, what we could do is build an app, and in that app, you put your zip code and all of a sudden it shows you all of the picnic areas around you. Not only that, but it comes with templates for picnics, that it's a full grocery list and what you need to buy and how you can set it up and all this kind of stuff. So imagine an app like that, super useful. Every single person that gets the product, number one, wants to activate the lifetime warranty. Number two, wants to use the app. And all you have to do is download the app, where immediately we capture the customer information. We can send them to Facebook, retarget them with the pixel, but also we can engage with them and then say, hey, please leave us a review. Or you have issues, you have any customer service issues, perfect. Just use the app, use the chat. We'll immediately hand it. We'll immediately refund you. No problem at all. Now that's building brand equity and how to capture your customer data and information. And that is worth a lot of money, because every single customer, if you have their customer information, you can actually use that information to market to them again and again and potentially get them to buy more stuff from you. That's where lifetime value comes in. Remember, at the bottom of the funnel, I'm trying to get people into subscriptions or cross-sell or get them to buy more and more or bigger amounts of products from me. Because again, every time I pay for a customer with ads, let's say I pay $10 to acquire that customer, instead of them buying one product, $30 from me, what if they bought two, three, four? What if they bought a $30, a $40, and then a bundle, an $80? You know what I mean? The more money I can get from that one customer, the more money my business is going to make. Next, we get into logistics, getting the product from the manufacturer all the way to Amazon. Now, that's where you use a 3PL. 3PL is basically like a project manager for shipping stuff. They get a truck booked from the warehouse all the way to the dock, where they will load it on the boat. The boat takes it to the US dock, then unloads it into another truck, and then a truck takes it into the Amazon warehouse. And obviously you have to pay tariffs, duties, customs, all that kind of stuff, do the custom clearance. So make sure that you're using a strong 3PL company and a partner for you. And also make sure that they have their own warehouse in America, because a lot of times you can't just ship the whole thing into Amazon. Sometimes you have to ship it to a warehouse, have them hold it there, and then drip feed it into Amazon. The reason being, you want to stay between 90 to 180 days of inventory on Amazon. Now, the lower the number of days, if you get closer to 30 or even zero, if you run out of stock, you're basically killing yourself on Amazon. You are destroying your brand on Amazon and your business and your product and your momentum if you run out of stock. So never run out of stock. But as long as you stay in stock, especially between 90 to 180 days of stock, that shows Amazon that you're a good vendor. And what I've seen is, without doing anything differently, we're actually making more and more sales. Now, the final piece is money management. Make sure that you don't run out of cash flow. Here's what happened to me, right? I bought my first 100 units. And as soon as I started selling, I realized I need more. So I bought 400 units. And then before those finished selling, I realized I need more. So I bought 800 units. And I had not gotten paid from Amazon at all. Actually, PPC was eating all of my money. So I was basically all out of pocket. So I had to open up multiple credit cards, get a $32,000 credit card limit, and keep putting my inventory on credit card, up until I think I hit $28,000 to $30,000 on my credit cards. And that's when Amazon started to finally pay me back for the inventory that I was buying. So make sure that you don't run into that issue. When you're scaling, you might run into cash flow issues. One useful resource is inventory funding. So for example, Wayflyer, if you have a track record of profitable sales on your products, they will fund your production run, and they charge something like 1% a month. All right, so think about this. I'm selling 1,000 units a month, and I want to buy 5,000 units, which is 5 months of sales. And let's say my product cost of goods is $5. So $25,000 I'm going to borrow from Wayflyer. I'm going to pay my manufacturer for that product. So let's say 30 days for them to manufacture it, and then another 30 on the ocean, and then another 2 weeks to check it to Amazon. Let's call it 30 days, and then 5 months to sell. So that's 8 months total. So that's going to be 8% of that 25,000. Let's say 10%. 10% of 25,000 is $2,500. Now, out of those 5,000 units, let's say that each one I make $10 in profit. That's $50,000 in profit, and it cost me $2,500 in interest, right? Which I'm paying to Wayflyer. Now, I'll always take that deal because I did not have to pay any money out of my own pocket. I paid someone, they gave me the money, I funded the production run, we sold it, and then I got the money back, I paid them back, and then I opened up another one to get another bigger production run, and so on and so on. And I keep doing that as I'm scaling. Again, you have to be profitable. If you're losing money, this makes no sense because you're not making enough money to be able to pay back the loans, and that's going to put you in a very bad situation. All right, guys, I hope that you loved this masterclass. If you want more strategic Amazon PPC advice, I have this advanced Amazon masterclass that you guys are going to love. Make sure to check it out. And if you have questions about growing on Amazon, please put it in the comments. I'll try and answer every single one. I'll see you guys in the next video.